time we answer a question on your stock in a little segment we like to call Your Stock, Our Take. Buy, sell, or hold.
So yes, this is a Your Stock, Our Take. And the question was, I was wondering if you could compare CN Rail with CP Rail in the wake of the Kansas City Southern deal. Which is the better buy now the dust has settled? So Canadian National Railway Company, or CNR, on the TSX, and Canadian Pacific Railway Limited, CP, on the TSX. So CNR engages in the retail and related transportation business and operates a network of about 19,500 miles of track spanning Canada and the US. And CP Rail owns and operates a network of approximately 13,000 miles in Canada and the US. And in the fall of 2021, CP acquired Kansas City Southern, which adds about another 20,000 miles to their track for about US $32 billion. And to pay for the deal, CP will issue, or they did issue, 262 million new shares and raised approximately 8.5 billion in debt, as well as assuming approximately 3.8 billion of KCS's outstanding debt. So the KCS shares have been placed into a voting trust until the Surface Transportation Board, or STB, issues a decision on the proposed merger, which is expected in the fourth quarter of 2022. And upon the STB approval, CP and KCS said the railroads expect to achieve full integration over the next 3 years. So right now, the company or CP is reporting KCS's results using the equity method rather than the acquisition, or we could essentially call it the consolidation method. So essentially what this means, this is a little bit of financial reporting education for everyone. KCS is being reported as a one-line item on CP's income statement, as well as a one-line item on their balance sheet. So let's take a look at the actual companies here. So CNR has a market cap of about 110 billion, where CP's market cap is 95 billion. And CNR pays a dividend yield of about 1.76% with a payout ratio of 42% compared to CP's yield of 0.74% and a payout of about 24%. Now, looking at revenue, CNR's revenue was up about 26% to 4.5 billion. And when we look at CP, their revenue was up 19% to 2.3 billion. But keep in mind, KCS's revenue isn't taken into account into that total revenue number because, again, it's just reporting their income in a one-line item. So looking at the actual earnings and cash flow, CNR's was down about 11% and 14%. And the reason being is because, as most of you know, CNR was making a bid to acquire KCS, which KCS ended up terminating, and this was in 2021. And as a part of that termination, CNR ended up getting back about 770 million, which inflated the 2021 comparable numbers, which we're going off of. So if we get rid of that in the 2021 numbers, EPS was actually up about 65%. And when we look at CP, their cash flow from operations was up about 101%, and their earnings per share was up about 35%. And this does take into account the income from KCS. Now, looking at the net debt, CNR has about 15 billion in net debt with a net debt to EBITDA multiple of about 2 times, which is reasonable. And following the KCS deal, CP's pro forma net debt is about 26 billion. As well, they have a net debt to EBITDA multiple of about 4.2 times, which is definitely getting up there. And then just finally, on the valuations, CNR trades at a PE of about 23 times and an enterprise value to EBITDA multiple of 15 times, whereas CP trades at about 32 times earnings and 19 times EBITDA. So just to conclude, nice quick summary, given the better growth, the dividend yield, the better balance sheet, and valuations, I have to simply give the cake to Canadian National Railway, or CNR.
No, that was a good job. I like that table. You put it right beside each other. It gets right to the main points here. It's a good table. I'm glad that you mentioned the termination
Oh,
fee
do you want me to pull that back up?
impacting. No,
Yep.
no, that's good. I'm glad that you mentioned the termination fee impacting the growth, the earnings growth of
Mhm.
CNR, because all I saw was you were just using reported earnings, and
Yeah.
if had you not mentioned that, I was gonna just tear right into you. It was going to
Yeah,
be
but you
ugly.
should have.
Yeah, I was kind of
Yeah.
disappointed when I did hear you
Uh-oh.
mention it. No, but no,
Mhm,
it was a
mhm.
good summary. So